Hey world, journalist Miles Best here, host of this lovely show, Above the Noise. Thrifting and secondhand shopping has blown up in recent years, with the secondhand apparel market worth about $28 billion in 2019, and it's growing 25 times faster than the general retail market. There's even this whole genre of YouTubers now that show off their thrift hauls. But like everything on the internet, there has been some backlash. There's all these critics on YouTube and TikTok calling out these thrift haulers for gentrifying thrifting. Their argument can be summed up like this. When seemingly affluent shoppers deliberately buy secondhand items from stores like, your Goodwills and your Salvation Armies, then those same shoppers resell that merch on a site like Depop or Poshmark at higher prices, which then inadvertently raises the prices at thrift stores as they try to meet the demand. And since I love thrifting, I wanted to know, is thrifting really being gentrified? So I watched a lot of these thrifters and they just shop way differently than I do. I mean, when I was looking them up, I saw a bunch of carts just filled with stuff. And when I thrift, I normally never get more than a handful of items, mainly because I'm picky, but also because I'm not trying to turn a profit. Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. We had to change up the scenery a little bit, but I wanted to show you my little thrift haul, nothing major, something slight, only a couple garments. We have the Looney Tunes dressed in 90s hip hop garments, really cute. The neck's a little loose, but I'll make it work. The grail of all grails right here. See, perfect little fit, you feel me? I feel real cool when I wear it. Everything on this is about being a loser, the total opposite of me, because I'm a winner and I'm cool. And I mean, I have a Depop. Like I said, I check it every day to buy stuff, but I've never actually sold anything on there. I have the whole account set up to sell, and I even have clothes at home that I don't wear that I'm like, somebody else could use these. But I just never do it for some reason. I mean, I wouldn't charge $100 for a t-shirt, but I think I'm just lazy. I don't know what it is. Now, I know that not all the thrifters that I saw were, trying to resell, but for those that do, I'm not knocking your hustle, get your money. That's what you do. But let's take a closer look at the whole debate. On the positive side of this trend, it's creating a good alternative to fast fashion, which is just inexpensive clothing produced by cheap labor, usually in Asian countries. Think your Forever 21s, your H&Ms, places like that. This industry is incredibly bad for the environment. You've got carbon emissions, really high water consumption, and pollution. On top of that, it also exploits workers. And it also just encourages people to just keep buying more and more cheap clothes. I mean, upwards of 84% of clothing ends up in landfill and incinerators. I mean, that's actually pretty wild when you say it out loud. It wasn't that long ago that fast fashion stores were the go-to places for young people. But now stores like Forever 21 are filing for bankruptcy. And H&M has plans to shut down 250 stores globally. Meanwhile, thrifting's popularity just keeps growing as an affordable and sustainable way to expand your closet and look cool on a budget, without all that guilt of buying from those fast fashion brands. But I wanted to hear from one of these thrift haulers themselves. So I checked in with Lindisiann, who has a pretty dope YouTube channel.
Hello. Hi. Howdy. So I feel like thrifting is just on net a good thing because it's obviously a lot more sustainable way to shop. You're buying secondhand. For thrifting, you really have to work towards finding good pieces. Unlike if you just walk into Forever 21, all of the trendy pieces are just placed out in front of you. And so you can really kind of cherish the really cool denim jacket you found or stuff like that a lot more.
Y'all should definitely check out her channel. It's really cool. Now, Lindisiann isn't one of those haulers who only shops to resell her clothes. And like I said before, I respect the hustle of these haulers, but there's been countless times that I've gone onto a website like Depop or into a secondhand store and seen $100, $200 shirt. And I've been like, who's paying for that? These shirts are worn down with bleach stains and holes, and not in a cool, aesthetically pleasing, fashiony, stylish kind of way, but in a dirty, worn down, I just painted my house or I just cleaned my house kind of way. You know what I mean? And I'm constantly looking at it yo, who's paying for this? I'm not about to give up a chunk of my paycheck for something with holes and paint marks. I'm just not doing it. But I wanted to see how you can prove that thrift store prices are going up because of this trend. And it turns out it's really hard to prove. What I did find were these valuation guides that show slight increases on Goodwill items, but valuation guides are estimated guidelines for donors to claim a charitable deduction to the IRS. It's a guide for the donors, not the rule on how much clothes should cost. And of course, store prices vary and it's not a one size fits all, but we're talking about jeans that were once marked at $4 that are now $8. And I don't know if that really counts as gentrification. But I wanted to go straight to the source and talk to someone who works in a thrift store to see if they feel like the popularity of thrifting has hurt the low-income communities they serve. So I reached out to Brian Stump. He's the executive director at Community Thrift. That's a thrift store staple in San Francisco that's been around since the early 80s.
It's interesting though, because even when I feel like certain types of clothing become maybe trendy or desirable, and there's an opportunity for someone to buy it and resell it and mark it up, there's always gonna be the next thing that hasn't been discovered yet, or the next thing that's gonna be interesting, especially to like a younger generation. They're always looking for something new, something different.
And he brings up a good point. There's no shortage of clothes coming into thrift stores on a daily basis. And thrifting is typically a long game. When you thrift, you gotta be there for at least an hour to make sure you find something that you really like. Like, that's just the way that it is.
You know, I remember hearing when I first started working here in the early 2000s, people would say like, oh, the clothing's all picked over, the hipsters go there and they buy everything. And I just I don't see it, it's weird. I feel like rumors kind of spread like that. People get the idea that, oh, they see someone got a good haul somewhere and they think like, oh, okay, everything's getting picked over by these people looking to show off stuff online or resell stuff online. And so it's easy to get hung up on that and maybe get frustrated or get, deterred. But I would say, just ignore it and get out there and take a look for yourself.
So, back to my original question, is thrifting getting gentrified? Well, it's complicated. That word gentrification is pretty strong. I get it when it's referring to, rich folks that buy up houses in low-income neighborhoods and then make it impossible for folks from those communities to live there. But with thrifting, I can still go into my favorite thrift store and find plenty of options that I can afford. And like I said, part of the fun is scouring through the racks. You need at least an hour in a thrift store if you really want to find something good. And I'll admit, there is something kind of annoying about these seemingly rich kids snatching up all the good stuff and reselling it, but I'm not really sure it's as bad as all the critics say it is.
I definitely feel like I am trying to cut back on my shopping. When I go thrifting, I'm not going to buy out the entire skirt section anymore. I'm going to just try to focus on buying out the things that I actually need.
But what do y'all think? How do you feel about thrifting? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, check out one of my personal favorites. This one's on school dress codes being sexist or racist and what we can do about it. Before you go, I wanted to tell you about a new show I think you should check out. Future of Work tackles the big questions about working in 2021 and beyond. Head over to PBS Voices to check out the link in our description below. And be sure to tell them Above the Noise sent you. As always, I'm your host, Miles Best. Peace out.